Hey guys, it's James again. I had some requests from our remote video hangout this last Saturday for some videos addressing a few different things. And so this first video is going to address grips once again. And when I talk about grips, we're not talking about grappling someone else because we're working on solo drills because we want to stay home, stay safe, and stay healthy. And this is going to deal more with grips that we use on our sabers. So to walk up to the camera here a little bit. So the predominant grip we use for our saber is Saber Grip. And with that is predominantly our forefinger and thumb, which have share most of the grip load. And then we have three fingers that are our manipulators. So they're not always squeezed tight. They're just kind of resting on the grip. But for demonstration purposes, I'll open up these three manipulators. And the special thing about this grip is that we're able to do most of our actions by just manipulating our thumb or our wrist and keeping a grip with our forefinger and thumb. Forgive some of the poor thing there. I just want to make sure that I stay in frame. So this can be here, it can be out here, but the key thing with a saber grip is that we only squeeze generally when we're cutting or meeting someone's cut full on or parrying. The other grip that we have is hammer grip. It's one that we don't utilize a lot, but it's something that's useful, especially if you're doing a lot of cuts in succession. And what that is you have an even distribution of grip across all your hand with all of your fingers. And it makes actions a little bit larger, a little bit slower, but you're more secure in your grip. But you'll tire your arm and your hand out a little bit faster, which is not bad, depends on what you're doing. The other grip that we have, I call this the backstrap grip. Some people recognize this as the classical saber grip or the sports saber grip. The key difference between what we do with this grip and what some other sword techniques do with this grip is that we don't hold our saber out here like this, especially since we're a heavy cutting art. This could injure our thumbs, our metacarpals, or some sort. This backstrap grip comes in handy at this plane and this plane. And I use these grips a lot to give beak attacks or make a sort of kind of push cut or thrusting motion with the saber. So what that looks like here and here. So I'm gonna walk over here. So now I'm gonna show you guys kind of a solo drill. It's a little rough. I came with it up on the fly. Forgive some of the background noise. Someone's doing some yard work. But a solo drill that'll bring all of the grips together into form, not necessarily a martial form, but hopefully something that helps on kind of illustrate the differences in our grips. So this is stationary. We're not using any footwork. And we'll start with our saber resting on our dominant shoulder, kind of our, I guess, our shoulder guard, shoulder ward, whatever. And so what we'll first start doing is cuts 1 and 2 in the figure 8 Molinet with our saber grip. So a nice loose grip holding predominantly with our forefinger and thumb. Once we start doing that, you can count like maybe 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. At some point, you're going to decide to take the same figure 8 form with cuts 1 and 2 and turn your saber grip into hammer grip. Kind of like you're continuously cross-cutting, counter-cutting. You should see that the saber is a little bit, I guess, not harder to control, but your grip's much more secure, and it's a little bit harder to I don't know, suddenly stop the motion of the saber, but you're very secure in your grip. But this is not the grip that we go around with normally because our hand and arm will get really tired and we might hurt our sparring partner. But from here, as we're doing this, I'll eventually get to a cut 1. I'll slow this down. So I'm getting into cut 1 and I'll stop. And I'll stop and hammer grip. Now I'll come up to position D, which is up here, and give point D out with my saber grip. Holding predominantly with my forefinger and thumb, and using my manipulators to make sure my hand stays, my sword stays in my hand. I'll deliver point D without taking a step forward because we're not dealing with footwork here. I'll deliver point D and come down to, we'll call this position C. It has to do with all the points, so I'll explain it later. Position C, and now we'll come up to position A in our saber grip and deliver point A with no footwork. Now we'll come back down to position C it will adopt our backstrap grip. So you can see here I've got my backstrap grip, and now I'll throw out a beak attack at, I don't know, my opponent's face or their sword hand or whatever. I'll throw one out and come around to my inside, throw it out, cover the outside, throw it out, cover the inside, throw it out, cover the outside. I'm getting this rolling motion out in front of me. And then when I feel like that's good, I'll transition to doing the same thing, only slightly different with cuts 3 and 4. So from this position C, I'll Molinet downwards using my Saber Grip and the cuts 3 and 4. I will eventually decide that I want to do this with Hammer Grip. And so I'll transition to Hammer Grip. Now, instead of cutting down into 1, because we can't, if we want to continue the Molinet action, I will cut up from 3 into position D with my Saber Grip, deliver point D, recover downwards to point C, still in Saber Grip, deliver, come up to position A in Saber Grip, deliver point A in Saber Grip, no footwork. I'll recover down to position C again, and I'll recover to backstrap grip, my backstrap grip, and do this motion again. Outside to inside, inside to outside, outside to inside, inside to outside. And then, when I feel like it, I can transition back into cuts 1 and 2. You can also try it with your non-dominant hand. And real quick before I go, to show you guys what this looks like in a heavy gauntlet, like a sparring glove, or maybe to a lesser extent a spec heavy. The difference in the way it looks, it's not as noticeable in the way it looks, at least from your hand's perspective. You looking at your hand, it's a little bit more noticeable when you start cutting. So I will cut with my Saber Grip. I have a hoof sparring glove. I'm still gripping almost entirely with my forefinger and thumb, but because of this protective glove, and I like having my hand, it's going to look a little bit different, and it might not be the clean lines or Molinet action that we're used to because we're wearing a heavier glove. This is my Saber Grip 1 and 2. Now I'll transition to Hammer Grip 1 and 2. The only thing that really changes for me is I feel the Hammer Grip, and I also feel that my cuts have a little bit more force into them. Now I'll cut into cut 1, come up to point D, in position D with Saber Grip, deliver point D, recover to position C, position A, deliver point A, recover to backstrap. This one is going to be a lot harder to do if you have spec heavies. It's a little bit easier to do if you have a sparring glove. The way that this looks close up is that I'm gripping it basically with my 4 regular fingers, and I bring up my thumb just to the backstrap. I still want to keep my grip a little bit more secure than I would with a bare hand because I don't have as much tactile feedback for when the sword might start rolling around or me losing control of the grip. But return to position C, out, in, out, in, out, or yeah, whatever that means. And I can continue doing my Saber Grip Molinet through the second half of the exercise. Thanks guys, if you have any questions let me know, and I'll be putting out another video soon.